Nick Baldwin for BloodyElbow.com here in Prior Lake, Minnesota, alongside UFC welterweight Mike Jackson, who is in town to shoot LFA 68 tomorrow night here at Mystic Lake. Mike, appreciate the time. You haven't fought in the UFC since your big CM Punk fight, almost a year to the day.
Yeah.
UFC 225, coming up on that 1 year anniversary, so to speak. Got the decision to win in that fight. We spoke right after, I believe, like the day after, I think.
Yeah.
You were still in town in Chicago, eating a lot after that fight. Now that you've had a year to think about it and just a year to live your life after it, how would you describe that experience, going in there, second UFC fight, and finally getting that chance to go in there and fight CM Punk?
Man, it was an amazing experience, being that it was in someone's hometown and sort of like a hostile territory kind of field. So it was different than the debut against Gall, because there was more hype around this fight, you know. But it was a great experience overall. You know, even though there were some little minor hiccups and disturbances, I didn't let it bother me. You know, I moved past that, and just great overall experience.
Do people oversell how much of an impact beating CM Punk in the UFC has had on your life? Do you feel like everything has changed since that fight, or did you just sort of go... You went back to being Mike the Truth Jackson, same old, same old. Did things change after it or not really?
Oh, no, 100% things have changed. But for me, you know, I'm just me, you know, and I can't really let things affect my life and dictate it like that, you know, because the main thing is the trolls, you know, people out there. But what I've embraced it. I've embraced the whole experience, and I've used it to elevate my platform. And that's what we're doing. But that was the mission the entire time. And from now, we're just continuing to grow.
What is your current status with the UFC? I know President Dana White wasn't too happy with your fight, with your performance after that one. That was a year ago. What is your current status with the promotion?
Oh, he was just talking. That's all it was. He was upset. He was in his feelings in the moment. But no, I'm still in the contract. I've been out with an injury. And, you know, for me, it was a special situation and circumstance. And so for me, I don't want to go in there and not be, I don't want to say I'm 100%, because no one's going to ever go 100%, but I want to be my most optimum, you know. And so I don't want to take a fight against, you know, some of the best fighters in the world here and have an injury. You know, I'm already at a disadvantage, I feel, you know, with the lack of experience and things like that. So I have to, you know, I have to balance it out somehow. So I'm going to use my skills, and with that, I have to make sure my body's right, you know. So that's all we're doing right now. We're making sure that the body's doing well. You know, we have the access to the UFC PI, which, man, that's been just a great addition. And I think any fighter in the UFC must take advantage of the Performance Institute. It's a game changer.
Okay. Are you 100% health-wise now?
You know, I'm not gonna say 100%. I don't think anyone's gonna ever be 100%. But I'm back to training as I'm, you know, training for a fight. Right now, it's just about getting back in that fight condition. I don't want to rush it. That's kind of what happened. I was actually offered a fight on the UFC Argentina card, and I picked up training, and that's when the injuries, you know, kind of flare back up again. You know, if you're going light, you really don't experience a lot. You know, it's when you pick it up, and that's when injuries happen. So for me, I want this time to be different. I want to make sure that we're as healthy as we can be as we continue to pick up the training.
Do you remember who they wanted you to fight on that Argentina card? Does it come back to you?
It was the kid. They got fight tonight. It was one of the earlier fights. It was the Mexican cat, and they were throwing down. Hector Aldana, I believe his name was. Yeah.
Was that the Devin Powell fight or no? I could be totally wrong.
I don't remember who he fought, but Hector Aldana, I believe his name was. Yeah, Mexican cat though, and and I felt it would be a fun fight. You know, in my mind, I was unsure as to the type of opponent they were going to put me in there with. You know, I didn't know if it was going to be a situation where they were just like, yo, we're going to get this dude out of here, so let's give him one of these killers. You know, look, I understand what it is. I understand my level of talent and skills compared to the other guys, you know, but that doesn't mean that I can't compete at this level. It just has to be the right fight for me. And I'm not saying give me what was it? I don't remember the guy's name, but people were kind of clowning the dude they gave Greg Hardy a while back. You know, I don't want someone who's like a scrub or a can or anything like that. I want a quality opponent, but it has to be, I feel, a quality and even matchup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the
like Hector Aldana, like that fight, I felt that would have been a quality fight for me.
So the plan is to still fight in the UFC again. You want another fight?
100%. You know, I look at the fighting in the UFC a little bit differently than a lot of other people. For me, this was my path in life. You know, I didn't have to work my way up through the feeder leagues or anything like that. You know, I got it off of other abilities. You know, and people shouldn't hate on that. You know, I got here how I got here, and so with that, I have to take my own path. And fight if my thing is I have this opportunity, and I don't want to squander it. So if I go out there and I just get washed, then I got washed. But I'll never know unless I give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think this is something like, you know, some of these guys, they don't feel like, you know, some of these lower level guys, like I feel I can compete with the best. You know, I don't think it's just a wish. I feel I can compete with the best, and I'm going to give it a shot.
Mickey Gall, who you fought in your debut and Gall's debut respectively as well, he, of course, was the first person to fight CM Punk, first person to beat him. You were the second. For a while, for a long time, he was known as the guy to beat CM Punk, kind of like you as well. I think that has changed over the past little while. The more time he spent in the UFC fighting other fighters, people have forgotten about it. That label will always be attached to him somewhat, a little bit, but less and less. Right. Do you hope for that same thing to happen to you?
No, I mean, for me, I don't care either way. Again, what I'm doing is not a little, it's different, like what Mickey Gall is doing. You know, Mickey and the majority of the people, I would say everybody for the most part in the UFC, like their goal is to be a UFC champion. You know, that's not my goal. I just love fighting. Sure. You know, and that's okay. I feel that's okay. If you have someone who just enjoys to fight and they're gonna fight, and you're a fight fan, you know, what does it matter if they want to be a champion or not? You know, Mickey's, I'm sure that's what he wants to do is disassociate himself. For me, I don't care. It doesn't matter either way because I'm here to have fun in the fight.
You mentioned that maybe not quite 100%, but you're getting closer. Do you have any sort of idea? Has the UFC reached out with another fight offer? Do you know when you'd like to get back in there, or have you not quite planned that out yet?
No, well, they haven't reached back out. I was talking to Sean, and he just told me let me know when I'm healthy. I don't think he's going to continue. Like if I'm not 100% or if I'm not ready to go, he's not going to bug me, you know. But I feel maybe a fall or winter, something before Thanksgiving. I'm hoping, and we'll see.
This is looking a little further, but let's go to 2020. Let's go a year in the future. Where do you sit in the UFC? Are you staying active, kind of like Mickey Gall? Not to compare you two, because you're different people and have different paths, but you both have that one CM Punk fight early on in your careers. Do you fight regularly, just like he has over the past couple of years, and do you turn into, I don't know if this is a good way to put it, but a regular UFC fighter?
Sure. I mean, hey, man, if that's
only time will tell?
Only time will tell. You know, for me, it's all about the body. As long as I have the ability physically to step into that octagon, then I'm down. You know, once that time has passed, then I'll bow out. Would
you be content or satisfied if the UFC just said, hey, Mike, you know, all respect, but we're not interested? Would you be mad, be angry? Would you, you know, have something against them, or would you be content with what has happened?
What you mean if I were, well, I can't get cut right now, so I'm.
What do you mean you can't get cut right now?
I can't get cut right now.
Why?
Because you can't get cut for win.
Is that actually something that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm under contract, you know. So again, I don't see it as they're not interested, sure. You know. It's just one of those things. Is whenever I'm ready to go, we back in that thing.
You're a guy that you're playing it all by ear. You're happy with sort of however it plays out, and that's something we don't know how it will play out until it does.
You know, for me, again, it's about the brand and the business here. You know, I feel, for me, it's not just about the fighting. You know, I have a great job here. I feel I'm one of the best photographers in combat sports, period. You know, and my work shows, my art shows. So for me, it's about continuing to help uplift the sport, grow the sport. We see the UFC doing big things right now. We have LFA, which I'm here with right now. We're a feeder league to the UFC. And as you see the content that's pushed out, a lot of it is mine, you know, and that's what it's about. It's about helping these guys with the exposure and getting to the next level.
To go off that, when you haven't been rehabbing this injury over the past year, you mentioned you still run your website, you do photography for LFA. What else is going on in the life of Mike the Truth Jackson?
Man, you know, that takes a lot, you know, out right there. The LFA, I get to travel around the country with them. And back home, I actually work for a smaller promotion, which is sort of a feeder league to LFA. It's under Garcia Promotions. And we put on MMA fights under the Fury Fighting Championship banner. And then we do Jiu-Jitsu Super Fights under the Submission Hunter Pro banner. And with those guys, I actually run all of the online production. So we, just like with LFA, with this promotion, I get to travel the country, shoot photos, and I run a live stream on my Facebook page, and I'm just enjoying life right now.
Alrighty, well, Mike, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it, and best of luck with whatever comes next for you.
My man, appreciate it.